Welcome to 10 Talks. Today's conversation is all about winning nutrition. It's all personalized and it's really designed for you, your desired outcome. And our desired outcome is to get you educated so that you understand how to be empowered to really win your well-being. Kyle is our coach. He is here to coach us up and really help us figure out what works for us, what doesn't, and just the joy of being intentional about what we put into our mind, into our body, and into our life. Kyle, great to have you on. Thank you so much. We have a bit of just questions today we'd really love to go through as we figure out what it is that we need to feel our best. And so there's so much information out about supplements. What are your thoughts on supplements?
Okay, as I studied health and nutrition, we always see, when it comes to nutrition, we always see that little pyramid, right? With what is the basics, and then it goes up until what you need the least. And the very basics down there is behavior and lifestyle, and supplements don't come until like a little bit up in the pyramid. And that's to tell us that supplements should never substitute food, right? You first get what you need from the basics, which is food. Food is your energy. And then when people have not been doing so well or have not been planning or understanding what they need on from that basic perspective, then we got to look into what's happening. Then they start having some consequences of it, and they go to the doctors, get their blood work done, and they're missing on something, right? Vitamin D or iron or anything like that. And that's the job of supplements. It's helping you make that change a little faster. But even then, like how you make that change the best is going back to the basics, making sure you're eating the right foods, making sure whatever it is in your plan is focused on getting you back on track with those numbers for those minerals and vitamins, so those can support your entire body. It's pretty much that.
Well, the name says it all. I mean, it's really a supplement, exactly right, in terms of it's really not designed to take the place of, and just being smart to starting with our doctor and our bodies being very personalized and according to our blood, what are we missing? I really want to focus on that personalized side of it. And just because something works for me, it's not necessarily going to work for somebody else. And that ability to recognize it by paying attention and being aware of how am I feeling right this moment when I put something in me, in terms of being able to eat something, drink something. In our sports life coaching, we love to use the tool stats. So it's all about stats on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 is low, 10 is fabulous. So really statting up our day from a nutrition perspective, and for everything that I'm intentionally eating, I'm statting, okay, once I ate that, number one, did it taste good? And on a scale of 1 to 10, how did it taste? And also, how did I feel afterwards? This is the first step to really empowering myself to own my nutritional choices and be for us, right? I mean, if I want to have a little chocolate or a little wine or whatever, I'm going to understand. Notice when I ate that, how did I feel? And what do I want to do different next time with my choices? So we're going to incorporate the sports life coaching and the nutrition and really be able to get us a game plan going forward. So we also hear a lot about fasting. What are your thoughts about fasting?
Okay, that's a great topic for me. I have done so. For me, it was so much testing just because how hard it gets, and how challenging these processes are. There are some different types of fasting, right? And it just depends, really. I'll go back to like, what is your goal? And remember the basic of the pyramid? What is your behavior and your lifestyle? So, what is your lifestyle like? Does it permit you to go into fasting? I believe fasting is more than anything a process for you to do like a deeper cleanse if you have come from bad habits in life. If you have done a lot of drinking or eating most processed foods in your life and you had no knowledge of what good nutrition is, I think fasting is a magical thing that if you're doing it correctly and possibly with help because it requires some knowledge into that. I think we can make the best out of it and understand our limits into that, because sometimes people jump straight into it and it gets pretty serious. They will face some problems and they think fasting is the worst thing possible, and it's not really like that. So just a little bit of help on that, it could be something very positive.
And what are the winning strategies to set myself up to win fasting?
If you're a first timer, I would say get slowly into the process. So let's say, for example, if you're telling me you want to do it for the first time, I would tell you to go on a 12 hours of eating and period of non-eating for that day. So let's say you had your dinner at 7:30 and you finish at 8, so you won't eat until 8 a.m. the next day. So you do that consecutively, you see how you feel, you get the results, make sure you're jumping on the scale or, getting your numbers, because the numbers will be able to tell you how.
That's are
Also,
important. Yes.
yeah, the numbers will help you, and also the way how you feel, right? Like, am I sleeping better? Am I decreasing inflammation in my body? Is my brain less foggy, depending on the problems that you're trying to solve? Fasting could be really good for that. Then, as you see some results, you can start increasing that a little bit. I'll go on a 14 to 10 hours. So 14 hours without eating and 10 hours where I can eat whatever, right? And have these meals within those 10 hours. So from that, we can level up on the type of challenges you're looking for yourself, or you can stay there and decrease the frequency of fasting, do every other day or a few times per week. And some people do just well with that too.
And have you found anything particular that works kind of for most people in terms of the amount of time or how often?
I think people really like the 14-10.
Yeah.
Yeah, the 14-10 every other day of the week is what
Mm.
people like. Sometimes they feel like, okay, I'm having breakfast too late, so I'm like, I want to have my breakfast. I love my breakfast meal. I had a client in the very beginning of my works that he could not eat in the morning. So I
Mm.
was like, okay, you want to do fasting? Yes. So let's do it at night,
Yeah.
right? And for him, not having dinner was very, very impactful in a positive way. So he understood that in the morning, he needed that meal to feel energized and go to work and get things done. And some people's the very opposite. Not having that meal too early in the morning will help them energize and not feel heavy. So the bio individuality goes into that too.
Yes, that's going to be what we hear over and over is we're going to have to own whoever we are and what works for us and what doesn't work for us. So, what about the connection between really diet or lifestyle and nutrition with our mood?
Okay, that's a great one too. So when it comes to mood, we really got to take in consideration our gut health, right? Our immune system is hidden in our gut, or most of our immune system, 70% of it is hidden in our gut. So just for us to understand, the gut is in the intestines and where we have this whole environment that needs to house all these bacteria, right? And there are good bacteria and there are bad bacteria. So if you are eating the right types of foods, like I said before, 80% on a whole foods, 80% of the time, you are giving plenty of good bacteria to your gut and feeding those bacteria, right? And we need those bacteria for what? To digest food, to keep things clean and functioning well. And when the opposite happens, we jump into, I don't mean to get too sciencey, but we jump into dysbiosis. And that means just we have more bad bacteria than good bacteria. And it's a little war going on in there, and the bad are taking over. Our foods are not really being broken down. Some of these proteins could start hurting the walls of our intestines and our gut in there. And then that's when it hits our immune system. So we have this thing called the vagus nerve, which connects our gut to our brain.
Mm.
And if we think about mood, it's all in the brain, right? So let's say I have a lot of bad bacteria in my gut. A lot of this processes are happening, my immune system is being in alert all the time. All that will weigh on my brain as well.
Mm.
And as an athlete, what I think about is like I'm in a very pressured moment of a game or of an event. How do I need to feel? I need to feel as positive as I can, as empowered as I can. So my brain needs to be going really well, right? Everything needs to be going smoothly. Otherwise, I'm feeling down on myself, not gonna be my best. And to the regular person during the day, it's just the regular challenges, right? Like, I don't know, maybe you had a discussion with your spouse or something. How is your mood that day?
Mm.
How is your brain functioning? If you're really on the bad side of things just might go downhill, right? But if your brain is calm, things are going well, you'll be able to be centered, you'll be able to solve problems.
Are there certain foods that really affect our mood, or if we're really struggling, are there certain foods we can eat that help with depression or with stress?
Yes, and I would say with the stress, I would say it's pretty much what we just talked about, is really setting our brain in the right ways, right? So we decrease the chances of us making it worse, making these difficult situations worse. So when it comes to foods, I would say all those foods that are anti-inflammatory, like let's put out there like salmon, which has a lot of like omega-3s, those are anti-inflammatory. Those bring good guts, good bacteria to our gut. So our gut is working well and doing things well. So blueberries, for example, are also very good in antioxidants. So if we're doing this cleanse, cleaning our bodies in an efficient way, I think our chances of decreasing any type of problems when it comes to our brain will be bigger. I won't sign on it. I haven't really read many studies on these things. However, that's what we see people talking about. That's where I felt myself. You know, my mental game has gotten better and better as I improve my diet. So I think that's the way to go.
How do we find out about our gut health?
There are tests out there. I won't get specific into the names of it because I'm not really familiar with that. However, I do believe that even through our feces, we can tell if our gut is doing well or not. And just understanding with this test, like the doctor will be able to tell you, hey, something's good or bad going on with your gut. We should be improving on this situation, on that situation. And also, like I said before, within our gut is 70% of our immune system. So if we are having those reactions, right, like some rashes on my skin or something is making me feel weird, I should be checking on that. That might be a gut issue that I do not want to have because I'm trying to be active and stay in good performance, right?
So let's talk nutrition hacks in terms of being able to stay fueled and really stay out of peak performance when we've got a busy life. Athletes are going to school, they're working out, we've got people working. We're not able to be home and cook all the meals and have great rituals and routines. How do we really make sure that we are being able to fuel up in a healthy way, even as we go through kind of the uncertainty of the day?
It comes back to understanding where you can make the best choices, right?
Mhm.
And being a planner. Let's say if I go to work at 8 a.m. and I know I'm not coming back home, I did not pack any meals for me. And right by work, I have a McDonald's and I have a Chipotle. I will 100% go to that Chipotle where I'll get some greens in vegetables in my meals. I'll get good amount of proteins, high quality carbohydrates, instead of going into the fully processed type of meal. So it's just making sure you are, again, going back to being a planner. Okay, the
Mhm.
days that I don't pack a meal, I want to wake up a little later before I go to work, not feeling too energetic to cook this meal before work. What are my best choices? So lining those up and making sure you are able to do that. Because if we wait for the last minute, guess what? What are the choices you're gonna make, right? It's okay. It's okay.
Not so fabulous ones, that's for sure. So, for young athletes who are just getting started, what's a game plan that they can feel empowered and feel like they have some choices that they're making and they're actually getting to see results quickly?
Oh, great question. I think that for young athletes, eating enough is a big deal for them. they still don't understand like the amount of times per day they should be eating or the amount of food. So teaching them the importance of these carbohydrates, fats, proteins for their levels of energy prior to practice and right after practice for their recovery, it's so important. And I think the thing here is to really to make it very simple, right? These kids are learning so many things in school and from their parents and from their environment every day. So making nutrition pretty simple, make them understand the groups of macronutrients, protein, fats, carbohydrates, and how those will help, how to get these kids or these teenagers on the right side of these things when they're young. I think it's the best way to teach them to grow up into their careers, into whatever they're going to do in life, and still with good habits on nutrition.
What's something that right after working out is a great winning strategy to eat?
For sure, some protein. Protein shakes can help that being a fast meal without you having to cook a beef or I don't know, go to a restaurant. So carrying like little protein shakes would be good just to make sure those are not really high in sugar because they could be sometimes. And having I would say a moderate size of a carbohydrate, a simple carbohydrate, let's say Rice Krispies that wouldn't be loaded with sugar, just plain and simple, maybe with a little bit of peanut butter or something like that. It would be something that will fuel their muscles right away. But protein is the rebuilding that they want to do right after practice for all the efforts they have put in. So recovery is smooth and nice.
Well, Kyle, you have been such a gift to us as we're getting started really understanding how to win nutrition and be for us. So thank you so much for the gift of joining us and sharing your words of wisdom and really getting us coached up. So team, it's up to you. Go out and win your nutrition. Figure out what's a 10 for you. Stat up everything you're doing and think about, soon as I taste it, how does that taste on a scale of 1 to 10? And then how does it make me feel? Am I achieving my desired outcome? Because the nutrition is nurturing us. And it's so important that we are fueled up and mentally, physically, emotionally, making sure that we're surrounding ourselves with great people, enjoying great meals, and taking great care of us. So, Kyle, thank you so much.
You hit the spot on that one. Good job. And thank you for having me, Carlette. Thank you so much.